Hello,
Is
everybody.
that
Welcome to the Aspire Sports Show. I'm with Giggs and Tyler. We're just going to talk about basically what's up with Taysom Hill. I think everybody's wondering what's up with Taysom Hill. Tight end, quarterback, what is he? So I'm just going to pass it off to these guys because they know more about it. So go ahead, Giggs, Tyler.
Tyler from the Spire Sports Show? Yeah, we're going to be talking about Taysom Hill here. So I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, especially Twitter. Really, that's the only place I've gone that are pretty upset with the whole Taysom Hill, especially on ESPN. Well, I think they're the only one, also FanDuel, but nobody cares about that because everybody appreciates that. But on ESPN right now, there's a big argument right now with Taysom Hill being eligible for tight end and quarterback position right now. So you essentially can put him in as your tight end or even as a flex play. So, a lot of people are upset about that. So we're going to kind of talk about like our um, view on it all and how we view it as like I mean, we've both have been, Kyle, mute your mic. We've also been
Is it
like,
that bad?
yes, you can hear it. We've been fantasy commissioners before, so we kind of are in people's shoes if they're like commissioners. Also, we're players in leagues, so we're gonna kind of just give our insight about it. So I'll go ahead and start first, and then I'll let Gigs go. So my personal take on it is, it's pretty unfortunate, but at the same time, he was available in basically 100% of leagues. So, hey, if you weren't listening to people telling you to pick him up, you didn't put in a waiver claim, I'm sorry, but it's on you. So you can't be upset that unfortunately they can be inserted as a tight end. He can be inserted as a tight end or a flex play because everybody had the opportunity. Now, it would be completely different if they came out in like random week. We're like, okay, Patrick Mahomes, we're going to move him to tight end. Like that would be completely different. But Taysom Hill, nobody had him on the rosters. Everybody had a fair opportunity to get him. And if you didn't get him, if you weren't listening to the Spire Sports Show, unfortunately, you missed out on your opportunity. So I don't think, I understand why everybody might be upset, but at the same time, everybody had a chance. What are your thoughts, Gigs?
I'm pretty much just going to echo what you said. If you're on ESPN and you see that he can be played as a tight end and you have a roster spot available where you could pick him up, and on the off chance that Winston were to get hurt this week, like if Winston started and got hurt, we all know who the quarterback would be, right? So there was an insurance policy right there. If the rules say that he can play at tight end, then you keep it. So for all you commissioners out there who are catching flack for whether or not you should allow it this week or not, you allow it because that's what it says. It said that since week one. No one had the foresight that if Drew Brees were to go down, Taysom Hill would be the starting quarterback, especially after they went and got Winston. But this just goes to show that they're comfortable with Hill playing quarterback. He played quarterback at BYU. So he's getting first, I think he's getting first string reps. So I don't even know if it's a smokescreen. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know we were talking about this earlier. Like, is it a smokescreen? We get a lot of smokescreens now, and it's been pissing off a lot of fantasy owners.
Mm-hmm. Uh huh. I'll say this. I honestly do think it's a smokescreen, and I'll tell you why. Um, Taysom Hill, number one, people don't know this, but Taysom Hill is 30 years old. He's almost 31 years old. Okay, so that's first thing. So if you think, oh, he's a young player that just got on the Saints, he's not. He's an older player. So that's first thing. Number two, when Teddy Bridgewater or when Drew Brees went down last year, Teddy Bridgewater took over. It wasn't Taysom Hill, it was Teddy Bridgewater. This year, obviously, the same thing. Drew Brees gets hurt. What happened in that game? Uh, Jameis Winston went in and filled in for Brees. Now you can say, well, Taysom Hill wasn't ready for that position. Well, he's been on the team for 3 years now. So, in my opinion, I don't. I honestly think it's a smokescreen. I think it's Sean Payton saying, because I also think of it from this standpoint. I think it's Sean Payton saying, we're going to start Taysom Hill, yada yada yada. Because two things: you have Taysom Hill, who's not your normal drop back quarterback. I don't think he's that. I think he's more comparable to like Lamar Jackson. So I'm not saying he's Lamar Jackson by any means, but he's going to be, I feel like that's going to be the kind of style of offense that you have to prepare for, where you have read option or, run option, whatever, take it around the edge, or he hands it off to the running back, and then, or he can pass the ball, whatever the case may be, more of like bootlegs with the option pass, or he can run it. I think that's the kind of style that I wouldn't even say Josh Allen, because I think Josh Allen's a better actual thrower of the football. Yeah, honestly, he is. So I look at it as Sean Payton playing mind games with Atlanta, and this is the only opportunity he's going to have, because no matter who he says is starter, they're going to have to prepare for that quarterback going forward. And I just think it throws a big wrench in Atlanta's game plan, because now you have to prepare for two completely different style of quarterbacks. So I just think it's a smokescreen. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but honestly, I don't like. Who would you say is a better quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater or Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston has more talent.
Mm-hmm. I think he has
he's a
way
more talented
talent.
quarterback. And that's the thing. It's not even a question of who has more talent at this point. Like, Winston is way more talented as a passer than Hill. Real quick, let me go ahead and tell you his college stats, since that's what he did in college. He played quarterback. We only have 2 seasons where he played more than 12 games, 12 or more. Okay. So he played 5 years of college. In his sophomore year, he went 236 completions on 438 attempts. That's good for 53.9% completion percentage. Real good.
Mm-hmm.
Yards an attempt, 6.7. So he had 2,938 yards, trash, 19 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. That's not even good. Now, that's his sophomore campaign, Ty. Why you beating him up? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at his senior year, his second senior year. He must have got hurt in 2015 or something. So he gets to play an extra year, and this kid goes 222 completions on 372 attempts. That's still 59.7. In the 2 large sample sizes we have, he didn't even have 60% completion percentage. And in that season, he had 2,323 yards, which is less, 6.2 yards an attempt average, less. Okay, 12 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's trash. So even if he plays quarterback, do you expect him to do well? I don't. Like, this is going to just be Sean Payton playing mind games with everyone, trying to flex at how brilliant he is on offense. It might backfire if they go Hill. So realistically, if he were the starter, I could see him defaulting to Winston later in the game, because Hill just fucks everything up.
I just don't see why they would pick up Jameis Winston if it weren't for a scenario like this. That's what doesn't make any sense about it. Jameis Winston is a starting quarterback. Taysom Hill is not. Taysom Hill is a wildcat. He's a utility player. He's not a starting quarterback. And you think I just think anybody that thinks Sean Payton is dumb enough to start Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston, honestly, you just wouldn't know a great coach between a bad coach. That's something like fucking Adam Gase would do. Like, you just don't do it. I don't see it happening. I think it's a smokescreen. I agree with you guys completely. It's just not a reality in my mind. Even if it was at first.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Jameis Winston
don't know.
is definitely going in the game at some point, 100%. If he's not the starter.
Let's go ahead and agree. Everyone here agrees, right? Like, we could see this being a smokescreen, like the Aaron Jones Monday night game or whatever primetime game that was. That was a smokescreen, right? Now, did he get the normal load? No, but he touched the ball 5 times to start the game. So, do I think Taysom Hill could start? Yes. Do I think Taysom Hill plays every snap as their quarterback? No, hell no. Even if he's named the starter, I see Winston getting involved somehow. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I'll say this: like, I think Sean Payton's honestly one of the better coaches in the NFL. So I truly think he's just playing mind games, and what they'll say is, oh, he's had every single snap. That's also open. That's during open media session. That isn't behind closed doors. You don't know what's truly happening. And then the quote is, Jameis Winston's not going to be involved in any of the offensive packages. To me, that's just that is just such an open-ended statement there. offensive packages. So what does that mean? Does that mean 12 personnel? I just think it truly means offensive packages and like what Taysom Hill would be involved in. I don't think that means he's not. If he would have came out and said Taysom Hill is our quarterback going forward from right now, then that would put reasonable doubt in my mind. But the fact that he came out and said, or it was reported that he said Jameis Winston isn't going to be involved in any offensive packages. To me, that's not definitive, as in he's not going to
Well,
play
I
like
heard
that.
it was because Sean Payton and Jameis Winston got in a fist fight. You
That'd be
see
different.
Over
no,
crab legs.
no, yeah. Did you see like the whole thing with who was it? I don't even remember. They fired their offensive line coach.
The
Was it the
Jet or
was it the
Giants.
Giants? That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, do you see
Somebody
this
tweeted
comment?
something about that.
This guy said he's projected 27
Yeah.
points as a tight. So here's my question. I haven't looked into it. Do out of position players get points for passing yards, like more points? Because that seems
depends
like a
if your
very
league
generous projection.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you here's what's crazy. If you've played Taysom Hill as your tight end the past 3 weeks, you've gotten 14.5, 10.9, 2.5. That's not
No,
bad.
I think he's
which is crazy.
And that's the thing is like I think I'm not saying that he's not going to be a good play. Like I don't think you go ahead and just like I'd much rather start Joey Burrow over him this week at the court because I've seen people say like should I start him at the quarterback position? No, I
No.
don't think so. Like you don't start him at tight end. It's fine because tight end's a shit show. So like after really the top, I'd say like 5 tight ends, really maybe even top 3. Sure, go ahead and roll the dice on him. But then I saw one person today was like, should I play him over James Robinson? Hell no. Hell no, you don't throw him in the flex over James Robinson. Are you crazy? Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm going to totally be wrong, but I really just think it's a smokescreen. I'd be very surprised if Taysom Hill comes out here and plays every single snap at the quarterback position and Jameis doesn't play. I honestly think this is my prediction. I think they run out Taysom Hill on the first play. Oh, here's our starting quarterback. Very next play, you see Jameis Winston trotting in from the sideline, and there he goes. He's the quarterback for the rest of the game, except on some of these trickery plays. That's what I think is going to happen. I could totally be wrong, but that's just my prediction.
I think what they'll probably do is they'll probably try to be cute and fancy at first. Maybe they'll just try to like what you not obviously he's not Lamar Jackson, obviously, but try to just run that style of offense. Try to run some like read option, actual option, like wildcat type of plays. And if it's not working and it's not effective, that's when Jameis Winston's gonna have to come in because no way Sean Payton is thinking, okay, we need to throw the ball. Taysom, go out there and like just throw the ball because you know who's better at just going out there and whipping the ball downfield. Honestly, James Winston is one of few quarterbacks in the league in his prime who is really good at just going out there. If they needed 400 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, maybe 2 picks, and then 3 picks in the process, but still, the Bucks weren't bad, but the defense they have, the Saints, he can at least rely on that. So that's something.
Yeah, he doesn't, and that's the other thing too is that a lot of people shit on Jameis Winston because he had 30 interceptions, which is totally unacceptable last year. But at the same time, you also have to consider that they were giving up like historically bad passing yards as a defense. Like they were getting shat on by other teams. They were a terrible defensive secondary. They weren't bad against the run, but against the pass, they were awful. So you have a quarterback that Jameis Winston, he's a gunslinger. He likes to just throw the ball. He's extremely confident in his ability, so he'll push the boundaries and try to fit it in super tight windows just because he believes he can, which is totally good from a quarterback. You want that, but you also want to tone it down a little bit. And I think Sean Payton's like the best coach that you can have to help him with that. So I just think they have a very good quarterback that people shit on because he throws interceptions. That is a extremely talented passer. And we already talked about this a little bit earlier. He's, in my opinion, a much better passer than Teddy Bridgewater. So why would they go to Taysom Hill when Taysom Hill was on this team last year and Teddy Bridgewater took over? Why would they go to Taysom Hill rather than Jameis Winston? Unless the only way I can see it happening is if either honestly like they maybe did get in a fight, Jameis, I don't expect that honestly to happen, but if something happened during practice where he wasn't listening or was disrespectful or something, sure, or if he's hurt. Those are the only 2 ways I see that he's truly not the quarterback going forward for this team as long as Drew Brees is out. So just my take.
I want to say this real quick. I don't know if I'm looking too much into this because honestly, this can be make or break for DFS purposes. This could make you $1 million on Sunday. Like
How many people
if
do you think will really have him in that spot, tight end spot?
if you're playing FanDuel at 4,500 at tight end, if you're not playing him, I think you're crazy. Like if you're making multiple lineups, they don't all have to have him. But if you're making two lineups, if one doesn't have him, you're crazy because all he needs is 13.5 points to hit 3 times value. Now, if you get 3 times value at quarterback, that's like if Watson gets 21 points something, like we'll say 22 points this week. He hits 3x value at quarterback. This is a super flex we're talking about at 4,500. It's a fantastic play at tight end. And again, I don't know if I'm looking too much into this. So I'm trying to dig up as much information on Taysom Hill as I can. And his contract's kind of interesting. So this year, his base salary is only $841,000 with a signing bonus of $4 million. Next year, he's paid $10.7 million with the $4 million signing bonus again. So the way his contract is structured is that he gets the big bucks next year. So I'm guessing that contract was signed before Jameis Winston came into the fold. I could be wrong. But they're paying him the big bucks next year. And I honestly don't see Breeze having another year in the tank. So it may be possible that they were planning on Hill being the future, especially after they knew Bridgewater was on his way out, right? But I don't know if I'm looking too much into it, but maybe this tells me that, yeah, we do have faith in this guy. We do want him to be our quarterback. I personally don't think he'll have success. And Winston is much better at quarterback than Hill. He gives you a much better chance of winning than Hill. But if
we gotta real quick answer,
I'm very surprised.
Carlson's question: Herbert or Lamar?
Lamar.
I go Herbert, but I don't think you can go wrong either with either or.
If you're playing FanDuel, I would go Lamar, even though it's $100 difference.
I think they're both really good plays this week, honestly. They're both like top 5 plays. So is that in YouTube or is that Twitter?
YouTube.
How many people are watching? I don't even know. I don't even have it up.
6. I don't even see that comment.
Like 11 at one point.
It's not too bad. I don't even have it up. So well then let's go ahead and just kind of wrap it up here, I guess. Or do you want to talk about anything else or?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think we're probably good. I covered the FanDuel. That's what I want to tell everybody is that you should have some exposure to him, especially in a GPP. Not having him in cash games might hurt you even more, especially if he is a starting quarterback. But like we said, it could be a smokescreen. So don't push all your chips in the middle of the table for Taysom Hill, but definitely have exposure going into this Sunday.
Yeah, no, I could totally be wrong, right? I mean, I have no idea. I'm not at the Saints facility. I don't everything, but it just doesn't add up, in my opinion. Like I get that they may have thought that he was going to be their quarterback of the future, but also at the same time, he's going to be 31. Like I know that's not old because some of these quarterbacks are playing late into their careers, but at the same time, be 31 on a starting team trying to lead a team, I just think, I don't know. And you get Jameis at a very good price right now, and he's just a better quarterback, and he's, in my opinion, better than Teddy Bridgewater. It just doesn't make sense in my opinion. But hey, maybe he goes out there and he plays. I honestly think it is a smokescreen, but I could totally be wrong. But hey, if you're going to start him, err on the side of caution. Don't think, oh my gosh, this is just a smash play, because I really don't think it's a smash play.
Should I worry about Aaron Jones or Miles Sanders?
Aaron Jones is a tough matchup, but I think you got to play him. Personally.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick between the two, I'd play Miles Sanders, but I don't think you should. If this is just this week, yeah, I would be worried about Aaron Jones just a little bit, but I'm not going to get too crazy and like sit him for like a Ahmed or something like that. He's definitely still like a top 10 play.
And I want to say this real quick, just to clarify what we're saying tonight is that if you have Taysom Hill in at your quarterback, especially in like a 10, 12 man league, if he's your starting quarterback, go find a different one. I don't care if it's Alex Smith. Go get
I'd say yes,
quarterback.
Alex Smith.
If you are hurting at tight end, if you were a George Kittle owner, if you had a guy who's been out, right? Taysom Hill at tight end in ESPN leagues, you got to do it. Roll the dice, especially if you need a win, especially if you're projected way less points than the next guy. Go ahead, throw him in there. Hope that he actually gets you, passing stats as a quarterback, because he can easily outscore every tight end if he were to play 4 quarters at quarterback. We don't think it's going to happen, but it's worth rolling the dice if you're playing him as a tight end.
I think he's good for about 8 rushes, a couple throws, maybe more rushes. Honestly, yeah, I could see like upwards of 10 rushes, and I wouldn't be shocked if he had a rushing touchdown. Because I think in the red zone, they're going to try to maybe rely on him a little bit in the beginning. But so I did see somebody said on Twitter, they could totally see him like first is right here. Taysom Hill will be on the field for the first play, most likely a design run play up the middle. Then Jameis will come out and play the vast majority of snaps.
That's what I said. I honestly think that's what's going to happen. I think, and I could totally be wrong once again, but I picture that happening where they're like, and this is the reason why people might say, well, what do they have to gain from that? Like I said, imagine if you're Atlanta, you have to basically prepare for like a Lamar Jackson and then like a basically Drew Brees. Like that's what you have to prepare for this 2 weeks. You have to have packages that are ready for controlling the gaps, having your edge rushers staying home. That way, Taysom Hill has that read option, can either give it to the running back or run outside. You have to prepare for all of that. And then on top of that, you also have to prepare for dime packages or nickel packages where you're going to be throwing a quarterback that's going to be throwing the ball a ton. Like it just makes a ton of sense for Sean Payton to say, oh, Taysom Hill's their starter. That way now you have to prepare for both. This is the only time he's going to be able to do it, because whatever he does go for, like whoever he picks going forward, they're not going to be able to do that.
Doug Peterson said Miles Sanders will split with Boston Scott, not 50-50.
Ain't buying it.
Okay.
So I saw that as well.
Should I be concerned is the question.
No, because I think it's another smokescreen as well. You have Miles Sanders played on 48. I think it was like 48 of their 62 snaps last week. Boston Scott played on 18. He basically had a 60-yard rushing score that was untouched, like off the side. No, Miles Sanders, if you watch the game, Miles Sanders is clearly the better running back. It's just coaches talk, in my opinion. I do think they might not give Miles Sanders like 20 touches a game. It might be in like the 15 to 18 range just to keep him a little bit more fresh. But I think it's a smokescreen. Boston Scott is not the running back that Miles Sanders is at all.
He's better.
So. But hey, some coaches like to do that for some reason. I don't get it, but hey, some coaches like to do it. So,
hey, I just want to give everybody, especially our fans, some Michael Cruz breaking news. I know nobody's ever gotten one of these bombs before, but he says that Shefty is saying that there's no way, shape, or form that Winston is in the game plan. It's all Hill. So take it with a grain of salt. I mean, if Shefty is all in, you gotta consider, right?
I don't believe it. Why would Jameis Winston have played when Drew Brees got hurt? And then they have a whole week to game plan, and then he just doesn't play.
Well, the only way I could think they would not. Okay, so maybe they want to disguise their game plan with Hill. So when Joe Flacco leaves Baltimore, playbook is completely different with Lamar Jackson. Do you think they're going to take a Lamar Jackson approach with?
Like I said, I think if they do anything, they might start out with that. But if it doesn't work, Jameis Winston's gonna he's gonna get on the field.
I know what Cruz is talking about, and that's Shefty said that there's no way, or he said that he's not going to be involved in the game plan. It's not the game plan because he was quoting a beat writer that said the packages, that Jameis Winston wouldn't be involved in any of the offensive packages. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, it was worded in a way that it's not like, oh, Taysom Hill's our starting quarterback. No, that's not what it was. It said offensive packages. Like, when has a coach ever said that? He's not going to be involved in any of our offensive packages. They would say he's our quarterback. That's it.
We're talking about Sean Payton, who literally had a bounty scandal on his team. You think he's going to go out to the media and say, yeah, this is what we're doing this week. Make sure you tell the other team. Like, this is
I
our
wouldn't say
game plan.
bounty, but he's one of those coaches that
I'm not saying he's a piece of shit. I'm just saying he's a
no,
guy that will
right.
do whatever
He's
it
gonna
takes to
disguise
win.
his shit.
And he's not going to go to the media and be like, all right, here's our game plan, guys. Make sure you start watching film on Taysom Hill and our run game packages. Like, no, he has a plan, and I'm sure he has a backup plan, and they're probably two in the same. Like, I just think Jameis Winston's definitely, there's some maybe he's not going to see every snap. Maybe they're going to literally split it right down the middle. Who knows? I
think
think
that'd be so stupid too, though. Like if it's like every other possession, you have Taysom Hill out there, and
exactly.
then you have Jameis. That'd be so
If I were
stupid.
Jameis, I'd be
That'd be
pissed.
terrible. Like I think it's gonna be one or the other. It's either gonna be Jameis Winston is gonna come out there second snap of the game or second possession, whatever. Maybe they try to do some shit with Taysom Hill and they go 3 and out, whatever. I think Jameis Winston's right out there, or Taysom Hill plays the whole game, and they do run like a Lamar Jackson style offense where it's going to be more of the read option, pass back. It's not going to be like 3-step drop, ball out, shotgun. Well, shotgun throw the ball. It's going to be, read options where they're letting him decide whether to run the ball, pass the ball, or give it to the running back. I think that's what you see. I will say that, sure, that does make sense that last week, that's why Jameis went in instead of Taysom Hill, because you have Taysom Hill. In my mind, it would be a completely different looking offense than what Jameis Winston will run. But at the same time, why is he not the backup quarterback this entire? Why are you paying him that money and then you go out and get Jameis Winston? Like, it doesn't make sense.
And I just don't see the comparison with like the Joe Flacco situation in Baltimore. We're talking about the Heisman winning quarterback coming in drafted in the first round of a team that had every intention of using him versus Taysom Hill, who when was he even drafted? When was he drafted?
He was in 2017. I don't know if he was actually drafted or if he was.
If he was a senior and he wasn't even that good, I can't imagine he was drafted. But if that's the case, I just don't see any remote comparison to where Sean Payton would be like, all right, let's try to be like Lamar Jackson's offense and Baltimore's offense. There's no comparison in that, so I just don't see how they could even make that work. Then the way that works is Alvin Kamara, I guess. But again, that's the thing, is if the run game's going and Alvin Kamara is doing his thing and Taysom Hill is getting it going and they're actually being efficient, then yeah, maybe you only see Jameis for a handful of plays.
See, and that's, I have the tweet right here. That's what Adam Scheffler said. He said, Jameis Winston will not be part of any offensive packages Sunday versus the Falcons. Like, to me, that's weird. Like, why is it offensive packages?
Maybe
to me, that just has some
game plan, but like,
but it would
still
be game plan. That it would be game plan in my opinion.
But here's the thing: he still specifically says that he is going to be the backup. Adam Schefter does. He's saying that he will be the backup to Hill in another one of his tweets. I'm not saying it's not cryptic. I'm not saying you can't look into it because that's the kind of shit I do all the time. I mean, let your imagination run wild.
Hey,
that's how you get good at this stuff.
Here's what I think. I think this kind of makes sense. Check your most recent tweet. It's wondering about Taysom Hill, my user on Twitter. Okay. Well, Carlson, ask us what it is on here. Whatever your tweet's about. I think actually, so like what they do with Breeze and what they do with Taysom Hill, they use Breeze obviously passing and then Taysom Hill to mix it up with running. Maybe they'll, like, if their run game's efficient, maybe they'll bring in Jameis Winston for a play and bomb it downfield or something like that, some play action, things like that, which is also something they could be looking at doing because I'm sure they're going to go very run heavy. I don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do, but Sean Payton has a plan, and nobody knows what it is at the end of the day. We can all guess, but nobody knows besides him and the coaches and the players.
Yeah. Do you have anything else, Giggs?
Start that bitch at tight end.
Yeah, I got one more thing. If you're part of this civil war right now of whether Taysom Hill should be allowed to be play at tight end or not, you allow the owner to play him at tight end. Do so. Do not deny the person. I'm talking to you, ESPN people. Do not deny it. We had this circa 2016 with Jalen Samuels, whether he could be played at tight end or running back. He was drafted as a tight end, moved to running back. It's fair is fair. So just let it go. Relax. He might be a bust. Don't act like this season is going to depend on this one thing. Just let it go, and we'll see what happens Sunday.
And there was one other year, I think it was Joe Webb as well. He was like a wide receiver. I think he was a wide receiver quarterback, and he played quarterback the one time. You could start him as a wide receiver. But yeah, in my opinion, don't be a crybaby. If you're playing against them, it sucks, but at the same time, you had the opportunity. You could have grabbed them. You didn't. The other manager was just honestly, I'm going to say doing a better job. Unfortunately, that's what it comes down to. They were paying attention. They're probably watching Aspire Sports. That's why you should be watching it as well. We said pick him up in this off case that he is this quarterback. A lot of people assumed, especially me. I'll say it, but I thought Jameis would definitely be involved. But at the same time, it is what it is, and don't be one of those people that saying, "Oh, league." Manager, you need to stop this. Commish, you need to stop this. No, it's like the same with vetoing trades. You don't veto a trade. If somebody does a stupid trade, hey, you let it go. And if there's collusion, it's going to be obvious. But at the same time, don't be mad when somebody's doing a stupid trade. That's their decision, and you would have had the same opportunity to rip somebody off, but unfortunately didn't. So that's my take. Anything else? Good to go?
Carlson, we'll check it out in a minute, man. Just give us a second. We'll
Yeah, I'll
reply
go
to
ahead and answer it on Twitter. So, with that being said, if you're watching right now, we do appreciate you tuning in. It was just a kind of spur of the moment. We decided to do this because there's been a lot of talk about it and everything. So, I mean, what to expect? I don't know what to expect. I do think it's a smokescreen, but it could certainly be Taysom Hill is the guy going forward. So you got to decide what you think. It comes down at the end of the day. You're the one that's setting a lineup. What do you think? Do you have this feeling that it's a smokescreen, or do you think that's truly he's the guy going forward? Whatever the case may be, I wish you the best of luck. I wouldn't play him at quarterback. I would definitely play him at tight end unless you have Kelsey or Waller. Like those are really the only two guys. I would even say Mark Andrews. I think Mark
Andrews
Andrews
this
is going
week,
to have
yeah.
a really good week. But other than that, I mean, feel free. Like definitely, but I definitely would not start him in the flex if you have like a James Robinson, right? Or even Kalen Balaj. 100% start those guys over him. If you're kind of hurting, sure, go ahead, throw him in there. Wish for the best, but other than that, I would not play him. So, with that being said, thank you for watching and good luck this weekend. We'll be live on Sunday, 10:30 to 1, answering all your questions.
Put it in your calendar.
Yeah, go. We'll put it up here tomorrow, so that way you can turn on the little notification bell when we go live, and you should do it right now. Hit that notification bell, so when we go live, you'll be prepared. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Have a great day. See ya. Because a lot of other people